Just like there aren't good or bad Enneagram types, I personally believe there aren't good or bad Hogwarts houses. All that matters is your level of health and how you use your talents to treat yourself and others better. So, that said, let's get our sorting hat on. The core desire of an Enneagram 1 is to have integrity and to be good, which is basically like they have a really strong moral compass. And you know who else has a really strong moral compass? Gryffindors. They think they know what's right and what's wrong. They also believe in using their strength and courage to do what's right, and that is so one to me. On the other hand, Gryffindors may struggle with like a savior complex and really rigid black and white thinking, which totally happens to type 1s. It's kind of like a holier than thou complex because they're frustrated with people for not meeting their high internal standards. I'm gonna tentatively put 1s in Gryffindors. The only reason I'm tentative is because I could see them also being in Ravenclaw because they're really big rule followers, and Gryffindors can tend not to be rule followers, and I think Ravenclaws have like kind of a narrow-minded focus of like, let's just do what we gotta do. Like they're very like, you know, by the book for a Ravenclaw. However, the reason I still think they're Gryffindor is if the rules that are being passed go against their internal standards, they're going to break them. I think the best example of this is Hermione, who is in Gryffindor, and I thoroughly believe she is a type 1. She's a hard worker, she's principled, and she has this acute sense of right and wrong. But she does break rules because they serve a higher purpose. Like in the Chamber of Secrets, when she makes the polyjuice potion and she says she breaks about 50 school rules to do it, but she's doing it because she wants to save lives, because she's concerned about the well-being of the students in the school. So 2s approach life with a core desire to be loved and appreciated. They're thoughtful and generous people who can struggle with people-pleasing and trying to meet their own needs as well as others. This felt like a no-brainer to me, and please, you know, let me know in the comments if you disagree, but I think 2s are in Hufflepuff, and hear me out. Hufflepuff is the most inclusive house of all the 4 houses. They value hard work, dedication, patience, and fair play. Those things are so much more valuable than just like raw talent. Also, you see students in Hufflepuff are so accepting of other people, and nothing could be truer for type 2s. 2s welcome people into the fold. In fact, like in teams, I always tell people, if you need someone to make people feel at home in your company, like get a 2 to do that, because they're so good at bringing people in and creating community. So let's move on to type 3s. They're motivated by the desire to be successful and admired. They ask the question, am I achieving enough to be loved by others? So before I tell you what I think 3s go into, I just want to preface, I am a 3, okay? And I love being a 3. But I think 3s are in Slytherin. So the characteristics of Slytherin are cunning, leadership, and ambition. All 3 of these things are big drivers for type 3s. They're also natural leaders who know how to get things done. I could also see 3s being in Gryffindor, but the ambition piece is such a big part of 3s. Like they want to prove themselves, they want other people to admire them and be like, wow, look what they've done. So, and that just fits so well with Slytherins. So I'm going to leave 3s here. And again, like I said at the top of the video, there are no good or bad houses. It just depends on what you do with it. What do you do with your talent and the opportunities that you are given? So yes, 3, Slytherin. Type 4. Now, 4s are just gonna rebel against this no matter what I say, because they're gonna be like, you can't type me, you can't put me in a box. For that, I'm sorry. You are welcome to challenge me in the comments if you disagree with what I'm about to say. 4s are very out-of-the-box thinkers, and you know who else is an out-of-the-box thinker? Ravenclaw. Yeah, and I think actually Luna Lovegood is such a stereotypical 4, and she is in Ravenclaw, so I think it works. Another thing I think fits 4s and Ravenclaws is that they're always looking for creative ways to solve problems. In fact, creativity is one of the pillars of their house. And I think in general, 4s and Ravenclaws are really big visionary thinkers. Like they can think into the future and like imagine these big things, but a fallback that comes for Ravenclaws and 4s is that they can sometimes have like a head in the clouds kind of mentality where you're not actually thinking practically. A very good example of this is Luna, just like kind of living in, your brain and in your thoughts and in your imagination. Also, I think due to their high level of intelligence, they can sometimes become a little egotistical or like very me, I focused, which is something that 4s definitely struggle with. Okay, type 5s. Type 5s have an insatiable thirst for knowledge. They want to know more about the world around them. But they also view the world as a really intrusive, overwhelming place. To be honest, I feel like I would be crazy if I didn't put them into Ravenclaw. So that's where they're going, right here in the Ravenclaw. Both 5s and Ravenclaws are extremely logical. They're highly intelligent. They like to find knowledge. Knowledge is like the core thing that Ravenclaws want, right? They're smart. Hermione was supposed to be in Ravenclaw, and I think she could also be a type 5. That's my second type for her if we were gonna do an in-depth discussion about it, which, fun fact, I did a very in-depth discussion about all the Enneagram types of the Harry Potter characters, and I'll link that video in the description. Enneagram 6s, their core desire is to be secure and have stability. When 6s try to get their needs met, they double down. You know, they go towards people, they put aside their needs to work for the greater good. And I think a house that really exemplifies this is Hufflepuff. There's a Sorting Hat quote about Hufflepuff that I think really hammers this home. The Sorting Hat says, "You might belong in Hufflepuff where they are just and loyal. Those patient Hufflepuffs are true and unafraid of toil." It's that like dependability, that salt of the earth thing that I think 6s really fit. And also like Hufflepuffs like comfort, you know, I think personally that their common room is the best common room. It's like got plants and sunshine and it's cozy and comfy, and like I could just see 6s and 2s just having a little party in the common room, eating good food, having a fun time. Like honestly, vibes. Now let's talk about Enneagram type 7. Their core desire is to be happy, fulfilled, and content. Okay, I'm gonna sort the 7s by who I think is a stereotypical 7 in the books, like characters. And that is gonna be Fred and George Weasley, who are, of course, in Gryffindor. Fred and George just radiate positivity. They hate being deprived and they're always on the hunt for more experiences, more stimulation. Because even in the darkest of places, they hold on to that optimism, that positivity. They make jokes on Potter Watch during the war. They're like irreverent and trying to bring joy where there is so much darkness. George even makes hole puns when his ear's cursed off. However, the bravery of Gryffindors, and I think the bravery of 7s, can also get them into trouble from time to time, which we definitely see with Fred and George. Their courage can overshadow like logical thoughts, so they'll make mistakes or even do something that puts other people or themselves into jeopardy. Okay, now let's sort Enneagram type 8s. Their core desire is to protect themselves and their loved ones. I'm actually torn between 2 houses here, so I'm gonna go ahead and just duplicate 8 because I can't choose and I don't know. So I'm gonna need your advice and help in the comments. So I'm gonna give you my reasoning behind both of them. The first house I think I could see 8s in is Gryffindor. They're loyal to their friends even if everyone else is against them. Like that's Gryffindor to a T. They'll stand by your side through like thick and thin. Also, they have this like blind pride. Like they're so proud of their people, and that is so 8 to me. Like 8s will fight to the death for the people that they love. However, I could also see type 8s being in Slytherin, mostly because one of the struggles that 8s have is steamrolling. It's that kind of like, I know best, ambition over everything. It would definitely be an 8 in a more unhealthy place to be in Slytherin. Slytherins are also extremely hard workers. They're leaders, they get things done, and that is an 8. However, a person I think is an 8 in the series is Sirius Black, and he was obviously in Gryffindor. He and 8s, they're not afraid to push boundaries, to go past the status quo, and their core fear is being weak and controlled, so when systems oppress them, they're gonna push back against that with strength, with fight, with determination. But while I'm saying this, I could literally see that as Slytherin too. So I don't know, you tell me in the comments, do you see 8s in Slytherin or Gryffindor? And last but never least, a type 9. And a 9's core desire is to have inner peace and stability. Personally, I think the Hufflepuff common room would be a 9's happy place. And I think any 9 watching this video would agree. I could be wrong, but I could totally see them just jiving in Hufflepuff. So while I could see this being a cozy, comfy, comfortable house for a type 9, I could also see it being kind of a crutch in that they won't be pushed to be more than what they want to be. Like they could go into comfort there. So I could also see 9s, I'm gonna double it here too, in Gryffindor, because they're in the gut triad, and the main thing that the gut triad types long for is justice. And to me, Gryffindors are all about justice. Let's fight for what's right. And I think if you were a healthy, you know, empowered 9, you would be all into that. You'd be joining Spew, you know, you'd be fighting in the war, you would be there. However, there were, compared to the other 2 houses, Hufflepuffs were most represented in the war at Hogwarts, in the war against Voldemort. So I could see the bravery and the loyalty happening for 9s in Hufflepuff too. I don't know, because another key thing for Hufflepuffs is like they're really humble, and 9s are really good mediators and peacemakers. They have that humility. They're able to bring groups together, which is something that Hufflepuffs can do. So I'm like, actually, I think they would be a Hufflepuff, but like, I don't know. I'm gonna just go with Hufflepuff because I think that just being a Hufflepuff doesn't make you not brave, doesn't make you not strong. I think that you would just need to watch out and make sure that you don't sink into total comfortability while you're in Hufflepuff. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put 9s in Hufflepuff. So if you wanna see more in-depth Enneagram typings of all the Harry Potter characters, I will put my two-part series about that right here.